Hey y'all, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I'm sure some people aren't. But do not despair. Things are looking great. It just depends, I guess. But they are. They really are. So we have Ron DeSantis in Florida is in Texas right now. And he is starting some type of investigation, but they are gonna do something about this big tech censorship because it's messing up not just people's freedom of speech, which is very important, obviously, but it's hurting businesses, it's hurting even just small businesses and all of these things, and they're not playing around. I know Arkansas has begun some processes too. But, of course, they will throw Ron DeSantis out there because they really hate him. They really hate him because he goes, right for the jugular. If y'all don't know who Ron DeSantis is, he is the governor of Florida, and he is a former Navy JAG officer. Navy, I believe. Yeah, JAG officer. So he doesn't just, play around. He has shut down the media when they're asking crazy questions all the time. And it's just looking really good. So as Florida's... See, they have to put crap in here about as the coronavirus continues to rise. Ron DeSantis was in Texas telling a conservative group that big tech censorship of conservatives was probably the most important legislative issue that was going to have to get rid of this year. And he's not joking around. He doesn't just say crazy crap like other people, because he sees what's happening here. And what's awesome is there's a few, like I was saying, Arkansas is doing it as well. Louisiana, who knows what's going to happen here. There's some weird things going on, but I believe especially being that he's doing this in Texas, I would imagine that they're probably teaming up together, and then once they do that, then Louisiana will be like, yeah, we're with you too. And the southern states will be liberated, right? I mean, that's what they say. AOC said that the other day. She said, we need to liberate the South. Absolutely. We will liberate ourselves from DC and from northern whatever values. And also, this morning, a Florida extremist was arrested for encouraging violence ahead of the Inauguration Day protest. I mean, this seems like a huge deal, right? But let's look into what happened here. It's very interesting. They want to make it look like it's some... See, the whole thing is about, divide and distract. An FBI complaint alleges Daniel Allen Baker, a former U.S. Army soldier, made reckless threats of violence over the internet, which is a violation of federal law. In a flyer he posted, trying to encourage Floridians to rise up and defend Tallahassee on Inauguration Day. And of course, calling people on the right Trump terrorists. That's another thing, people like to make fun of the South, but we really don't play around with fools. We're not going to just sit around and let you make us look stupid. You don't hear that stuff all the time on the internet. You don't hear it in the news. But, the things that went down during the hurricane and stuff, I mean, I probably shouldn't talk about things that I'm already censored enough. But just because you don't hear it in the news doesn't mean things aren't happening. They want you to believe that. And that's why I'm going to go through a few things, how we believe in 100% free speech, except violence. You can't just go around saying you're gonna shoot somebody or kill somebody or this and that. But even that, they want us to believe that they are the bastions of free speech. Oh, I forgot about this. This is last inauguration. Remember the protest from Trump's inauguration? Y'all remember that? The burning and rioting. Weird. But nothing happened today. Why is that? Well, to quote Trump, courage is doing nothing. It takes more courage to do nothing. He's right. Because if you're doing nothing, you're likely thinking ahead. You're not using your emotions to just do something crazy. And that's enough quoting Trump. I'm just saying. He's right about it. And this is, I'm going to just kind of show you what their goal is right now and what it's been for the last few years, just so you don't get caught up in it. I'm sure most of you have seen it, but they are making people believe that they're crazy, okay? Because they'll put something like this out. Biden has white men to thank for putting him in the White House. And then 5 seconds later, they'll put things out that say white men are the reason that the Trump extremists, and that's what gets people in people's minds. They're like, wait, how do I rectify these two situations? The angry white man. When meanwhile, for over the last 4 years, they have over and over said things like this. And look, do not get upset about it. You have to be prepared for this to where it doesn't bother you. Okay? This is not to create division. I'm showing you the division they're creating. And this is what it has all, because I'm showing you over these last 4 years, and then it's culminated into what occurred over the summer and things like that. And actually, I think a kid was beat up on his bus this morning for wearing a Trump hat. They don't ever talk about those kind of things. But it's okay. Like, should not be Trump Biden, okay? The whole thing is you need to understand where the psychological operations are happening and don't fall for them, and teach your children and be prepared for this and not use your emotions to lash out and then you end up being in jail for something, okay? So this was their whole shtick, white professor calls all white people to mass suicide over slavery. Just silly. Rutgers professor, oh dang it, this thing's going too fast. Rutgers professor taken to NYC hospital for psychiatric evaluation after tweeting threatening to kill white people, the NYPD. Georgetown University professor, this thing is too fast. I guess I need it. Says all white people are racist. I mean, and he can say that. That's fine. We just need to be aware that we have professors saying such things, okay? White masculinity is a problem for America's colleges. Professor, some white people may have to die to solve racism. Again, you have to take this with a grain of salt. These people might not even exist. And this is how I really look at things. Who knows if this person even exists or even ever said this? They say, professor. What professor? And then they just show a random picture. So you just have to, whenever you can spot it, then you'll be able to. I know there are people that really do say these things, but just handle it appropriately so you don't end up doing something crazy. Baltimore professor, white people need to personally give all their money to black people. Professor in New York Times op-ed, I'll teach my children to be cautious, distrust friendship with any white people. What? I mean, normal people don't think this way. And it just, USC professor calls for Holocaust against all white people. You really have to laugh at this. White racism, of course, causes controversy at FGCU just as it did at University of Connecticut in the 1990s. You see how things start up in the north and on the west coast, and then they try to infiltrate the south. If you don't live in the south right now, I would recommend you do that as soon as possible, because things are going to get really bad very soon. But white supremacist patriarchy responsible for fake shooting? Really? Professor equates math with white privilege and sets off viral backlash. I mean, silly. White people are conditioned to commit mass murder. College professor believing in hard work is white ideology. Trinity College professor calls white people inhuman. Let them effing die. Hello? Hello? Okay. Sorry, y'all. Georgetown law professor, all white people are racist. All men are sexist. I mean, really? How can you broad brush anybody into any category? All I want for Christmas is a white genocide. Oh, yeah. I mean, who says these things? But you know, and I could go literally on and on and on and on. There's so many. And these are in college classrooms, okay? What you're seeing right here. So the thing is, now that the media no longer has Trump, because they don't come together, and the media doesn't sell things, they can't sell things without fear. They just can't. Okay, so they want you to believe all of this stuff, but then at the same time, they're saying, we must unite, we must unite. And so they're making people, like, crazy. Because you hear one thing, you're seeing something else. You just cannot pay attention to this, okay? You just can't. And I would go through the statistics, but it's just silly. It doesn't matter. Nobody should be broad brushing any group of people. You just shouldn't. Not in a negative fashion. I mean, maybe if... No, just don't do it. It's ridiculous. Just don't do it. And don't fall for that, because that's what they're going to be doing. And things are looking up, y'all. But you have to understand, now that Biden is in, he knows that 75 million people voted for the other side. And so he's not going to go full left. He's not. He's not. I know people believe that, and I know fear sells big, and I could tell you that, and I could tell you China's coming, but I can't lie to you like that. I just can't. All right? So, y'all have a wonderful day. Like, share, and subscribe. And tell me what you think about what's going on. Don't be upset. I mean, all presidents are just servants, civil servants. That's all they are. We don't have a king. And if we did have a king, it'd probably be worse. I mean, either way. Like, I just don't understand how people, I mean, are just like so freaking out. They work for us. That's what they want you to be. They want you to think that it's the other way around. And that's how they wield all of this power. But if you don't give it to them, and you start from, like I've been saying, bottom up, you cannot fix anything top down. Unless you burn it to the ground, but even that would be bottom up. You have to go local and state governments. Get involved in those. And that's where the change is going to be made. Just like we're seeing with Ron DeSantis and Arkansas and Texas. Okay? And things are happening in Louisiana. Unfortunately, the guy that I told y'all, that the congressman that mysteriously died, he had some really good plans. And they didn't like that. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. I just wanted to give y'all that little update. Y'all have a great day.